We're live. Just kidding. Hi, Esties. Welcome back to another episode of Esthetician Edit. Today we are here with René De La Garza. He is the founder of Brow Down Studios and Brow Down Studios Pro. And we are here because we have ICS Long Beach this weekend, and he's always there. Such a great time. Your classes are always amazing. But I'm excited to pick your brain, get to know the brand, your story. So I guess if you don't mind, let's go back to the beginning. Like, where did your passion for brows even begin?
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me.
Okay.
I get to ask this question all the time of like, when did brows happen? Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I don't really know. I mean, I knew that before this, aesthetics is actually my second career because I'm originally a professional singer before that. But once I got into aesthetics, I have always like just loved products, and I went into esthetician school thinking that I was going to be a facialist and a spray tanner, but I found out that you don't need an aesthetics license to be a spray tanner.
Yeah, you don't.
So I just got into brows, and I the first brow was like, whoa, this is really cool. Like I found it very easy. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was kind of the first telltale sign that was going to be something that was for me, because it just came so easy. And the first brow that I did looked beautiful. Everyone was really scared to do brows, but I was like, let me at it. I'm going to do it. And they were amazing. And ever since then, it like really like incited my passion for brows. And then toward the end of esthetician school, I just did all brows. Like, no more facials. We're done with the facials. I got all the points. It's all brows from here on out.
Mm-hmm. That's funny, because when I went into school, I was like, PMU, I'm going to be a PMU artist. I never even, like, I was so scared to do brows also. I think that's one of the scariest things, because no one wants to kind of give up their face to practice on for you to do brows too.
Yeah.
So I really do think that, I always say estheticians are like artists.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have naturally a gift. So you for sure have a gift, like you do.
Yeah, thank you.
But I know you have a signature technique as well. So like, did that signature technique, where did it come from?
You know, it came from like all of my training. There were like several kind of techniques that I built along the way. The practical skill I would say is like what actually helped me like learn how to trim a brow and how to pluck a brow. But really, I think that my unique service, came from my obsession with Yelp was one of them. I love reading Yelp reviews, and originally when I first started my business, I was like, okay, I want to know what people are talking about, what they hate about the brow service, what they love about the brow service. And if it's something that they hate, I want to do the opposite. And if it's something that they love, I want to take that and really move the needle. So one of the first things was, you know, I kept on reading, like, nobody ever does a consultation with me. Like, she told me where to sit. She started working on me right away. It was like almost as if I wasn't there. Yeah. So we started with the consultation. You know, with any other thing, like a facial or something, you're always going to get the consultation. But so it started with that. And then just the way that I wax, I think, is very superficial. And that's one of the things when I train pros, that's kind of like my gift when it comes to waxing, is I wax very superficially to like reduce redness and all the sensitivity, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But that, and then the crown chakra massage is kind of like something that I'm known for. Ooh. Yeah.
What is it?
So it's actually, it's pre and post oil and pre and post care. But what I do is I've extended that and made it almost kind of like a very relaxing massage. So it's like a pulse point massage that's like done on the pulse points, and you know, it's become like my signature thing. Like, people know me for that. And there are clients that come in and they have like 2 brows to tweeze, but they come in just for the crown chakra massage. So I think it's kind of like a mix of all my experiences. I'm always listening to clients too, you know, like what they like. I'm always trying different things too. And yeah, that's how I developed my like signature technique, I would say.
I feel like it's brow artists like you that have made being a brow artist like more serious than I feel like it was taken in the past. Before it was like such like an add-on service, and it's just something you did quickly. Yeah. And I remember I used to go to the mall and just get my eyebrows threaded. Now I would never.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm so like, I need to go to someone that is really great, has great customer service. And I've never heard anyone talk about reading reviews ever before. So I feel like that's like a good tip for Esties. But yeah, it seems like you just create a whole pampering experience, which I feel like that's what clients remember you by.
Absolutely.
Is that.
Yeah, you know, I think one of the things that's made me super successful is that I always say that brows are a high trust service. I always say that people have been burned literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So when you're able to take a new client, and with every client that I see, I always see it as an opportunity to build a lifelong relationship with clients. And I always like to think that people are a little nervous to get their brows done by you. So I always think of like every step that I do in the brow service is de-escalating stress and just kind of like making people feel a little bit more comfortable.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Brow Down Studios. So what made you take the leap to be an entrepreneur and to start your business? Now you have 2 studios, so what made you decide to do that?
Well, somewhere between my professional opera career and then becoming an esthetician, I actually worked on the business side and in retail management, and I worked my way through, and I actually ended with doing business development and helping with marketing and education on a corporate level. So I feel like I kind of had that business acumen like inside of me. But of course, right when I graduated esthetician school, I'm the kind of person that it's like you need to like learn a little bit, and you need to work for people so that way you learn kind of like the ins and outs. So I would say I put in my time, and I would never talk bad about any experience that I had. I just always think about like what I learned from that situation or with that place that I worked at. And I can kind of reduce it down to like a couple things that I learned from each place that I learned. But really what inspired Brow Down Studio is I thought like I could do this, but I could do it way better. And we can leave a lasting impression for a client. Or, you know, I would go to different places and I would say like, I really like that experience. Like, how do I make that part of the brow world? Or how do I make, you know, and I was always looking at different industries and saying like, okay, Uber is so convenient. How do we take the successful things of Uber and bring it into a brow service? You know, so I was always like looking outside of things. But yeah, Brow Down Studio comes from Beyonce, Bow Down Bitches, which was a really popular song when I launched Brow Down Studio 10 years ago. So.
That is hilarious because I had the question of asking you about like where did the name come from, and I was expecting something, I don't know, more like deep and stuff. It's like it's from Beyonce.
It's Beyonce Blast.
No, but I think it's cool that I always tell estheticians, like I think I've only been an esthetician for 1 year, but I've been in this industry for a really long time, and I've received a lot of facials. So my clients, they think that I've been an esthetician for like years, and I'm really, really good at what I do because I've received facials and I pick up on what I like and what I don't like. So I think that's so clever of you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about the educational aspect, because I know eventually you started Brow Down Studios Pro. I know it happened during COVID, you said. So what made you want to start this part of your business, and how have you grown as an entrepreneur helping other estheticians?
Yeah, well, so what really put me on the map, and, you know, I was always like a really hardworking entrepreneur. You know, I hired estheticians. This was prior to COVID. Before COVID, I had 5 estheticians that were working with me. We were a profiting company after 3 months.
Wow.
So the business like really blew up really quickly because of the unique service that we were offering. But one thing, I traveled to Spain in 2019 and I learned about brow lamination. And I'm the kind of person too where I'm always doing market research, like what are the girls doing? Like what is the look? What are people talking about? What are people looking like? And I first discovered brow lamination in Spain in 2019. So I thought, oh my God, what is this? I need to learn everything about it, because I'm an Aries too. So we get really intense about things very quickly. But I learned how to do brow lamination, and I was the first artist in LA to ever do brow lamination. One of the first, I should say.
That's amazing.
To ever do brow lamination. So that's what really put me on the map. And during COVID, I was the person that, you know, I didn't stop working, and that was like my coping mechanism of like working of COVID and all together. And thankfully I had access to at-home tests. So in a way, I was almost kind of like marketing myself as like, I don't have COVID and I'm still doing brows, you know, obviously in a discreet way.
I mean, California was like, you guys were the last ones.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But prior to COVID, we started doing brow lamination. We were like the brow lamination destination in LA prior to COVID. So we had like this crazy like rush of business for brow lamination. And then COVID hit. So I was like, okay, what are we going to do? People are like, everyone's talking about brow lamination. Like, what are we going to do? So I launched an at-home brow lamination styling wax during 2020. That was my first product that I didn't know was going to be part of Brow Down Studio Pro, but now is one of our best sellers.
Yeah.
But I was training people around the clock with brow lamination. I had estheticians coming in from all over the place. And I was working with this big lamination company at the time. My contract with them was fulfilled. And then I had someone from Italy say, do you have any interest in creating your own product line? So I guess I didn't realize that I was launching a whole second business, but I launched a second business to kind of satisfy the needs of like these students that I had coming. So I'm like, yeah, you know, like it's low MOQ, you know, I'll start with it. I'll start with my own line. And then that just popped off. And it wasn't until like a year later that I'm like, oh my God, I think I launched a second business. And I think we're pro products and it's my lamination products that I help create. It was a very surreal thing, but it just continues to grow. And, you know, education is always at the forefront of my business. And me, who I am as an artist, I'm the kind of person that I will always share techniques because I believe in abundance and raising the bar, raising the whole industry as a whole. And you talked about like making things a little bit more legitimate. And I want brow artists to be seen as a legitimate service, you know? So I always think about the industry as a whole in terms of like raising with education.
Yeah, and as you've like spoken, there's certain instances where I've picked up on the fact that I believe the reason why you've been so successful too is because you listen to your audience and you're very concerned with, oh gosh, like, you know, COVID's happening, they can't come and get their brow lamination. Like, how am I going to service my clients even when they can't come to me? So I feel like sometimes like I ask people questions and they'll speak more from like themselves and what they want for themselves. But it seems like you're always thinking of like the customer and what others want for me. And I find you guys that have like that mindset to be like the most successful and what we need in the industry.
Yeah, client experience above all, always number one.
Client experience, but also too like the SD experience,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
What would you say like your makes your education different from other education out there that an esthetician that wants to be a brow artist maybe could benefit from?
I think my education style and content is always changing. You know, I feel like I always say that beauty is the fastest growing industry aside from technology. So there are things that are constantly changing in terms of techniques, in terms of ingredients, in terms of products that we're using. So my brand is always the forefront when it comes to brows. And I feel like I'm not a gatekeeper. You know, I'm not someone to be like, oh, well, I'm going to train people, but I'm only going to train them like 60% because this little thing is like my thing. You know, like I want to share things and I want to see our industry get better. Yeah. You know?
So can you share with us a little bit like, as far as like brow trends and stuff, is there anything that you're like, I do not like this, I don't subscribe to this, and then what do you think is like the best thing you could ever do for your brows?
Yeah, I think the best thing that you can ever do with your brows is get them professionally done. Because if you're getting them professionally done, then you can take, you know, if your brow artist can take you in and out of things, you know, like thin brows are a really big thing. And I have taken some very famous people very thin. How I feel about it is neither here nor there. I think every brow artist should have it kind of in their toolkit. Like, do you know how to do a thin brow? Do you know how to do a thick brow? You know, and I'm very all about like not having a signature stamp. There's some artists that you look at and it's like, okay, that's that person's brow. But I really like to hyper personalize like who I'm working on. So we've been in thin brows for about a year and a half. I think it's also beauty is like a swinging pendulum and the trends are swinging pendulums. So I think we've already went to the thinnest that we can and now I think we're on our way back. I think we're moving now more toward a natural brow and I think we'll be there probably like next year.
I feel like since you are in LA, also too, you start doing the trends before it reaches the rest of the country. Yeah, I think because I'm a little bit like, okay, thin brows, that like it's very recent for me. But you really, because you are working with celebrity clients, so they're like the trendsetters, right? Yeah. Cool. Do they ask for it naturally? Like this is what they want? Like how do trends even start?
Well, I think trends they're not started. I guess they kind of do. But I mean, you know that fashion, it's like basically written for like 20 years ahead. Oh, always. Wow. No, I did not know that. So it's basically like it's all written for us already. Wow. So then naturally beauty responds. I think fashion leads, beauty responds. Okay. Yeah, and my husband is a celebrity makeup artist too. He works on all the girls right now. He's like really blowing up. So I listen into a lot of his like art direction call with his like big clients too. And then, you know, again, always listening like, okay, what if the makeup is going to look like this, then what are the brows going to look like, you know?
Yeah, because it all goes hand in hand together.
Yeah. And also I think people are always like, what do you think about the thin brow trend? And I will tell my clients, like, I don't think you should go thin based on the way that your brows grow, based on your growth pattern, based on like my understanding of how it will come back. I don't think it's a good move for you. You know, so I really look at a client specific hair type, their face structure and everything too. And then we kind of go from there. Yeah.
And so I guess we'll get a little bit into like your product line, because you do have a product line. I want to know, like, what do you believe every esthetician should have like in their arsenal of tools, and how do your products kind of align with that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think definitely the lamination system. The lamination has been very well received by the pros, thankfully. We are featured in Main Addicts, first of all, and that's what really put us on the map. We won Best Brow Product of 2024.
Wow.
So it's just been like nonstop with that. But I think what makes it successful is, you know, and I always tie it back to like the history of beauty. I love beauty. I love the beauty industry so much. And I feel like we can learn so much about the history. And one of the things that I always look at is like the Brazilian blowout trend first, when it first launched. I've been in this industry long enough to remember when that first launched, and everyone would talk and they would say like, there's this amazing treatment. It really smooths your hair. It makes it like, it gets rid of all your frizz. It makes it really shiny, but it has formaldehydes, you know? So now when we look at keratin treatments, it's like insane. You get like these really delicious, like hydrating, smoothing treatments without all the formaldehydes. So in a way, I feel like my brand is leading kind of brow lamination 2.0. You know, you can get the look, you can get the lamination, you can get the lift without all of the damaging kind of qualities that come with other brands. We always say that the integrity of the hair and skin is first and foremost like #1 priority. On our brand DNA, that's like our #1 thing.
Okay, I love that. And so any new products coming out soon?
So many. Yeah, we're about to launch a new category for Brow Down Studio Pro, which is very, very exciting. And you know, with Brow Down Studio Pro, my team and I, we really think out of the box, you know, like I think that's what's different also about having a brand that's created by a working esthetician. I'm still a working esthetician. In fact, I did a house call earlier, like right up the street from here. So I will stay a working esthetician because I feel like I need to know what people are talking about, like what is needed in the industry.
Yeah.
So my team and I, we really focus on like what the brow artist and lash artist needs, you know, like, and then we go from there. But this is something that is very unexpected, but very needed and a super easy sell for every esthetician. So that's another thing too, is I love to see estheticians not only grow their clientele with like very loyal clients, but also grow their business. I mean, we're in it for the passion first and foremost, and then we're also in it to make some money.
Yeah, of course. Is this the collab that's coming out October?
This is a different one. So this is for Brow Down Studio Pro. The collab that's coming out in October is I've actually partnered with a professional brand. And it's not a brow brand yet. But it will be a brow brand, and I think it's going to be really amazing. It's been a collaboration that I've been working on with product development and marketing and building education, and it really is the highlights of one of my career. I never thought that I would get to a point where I'm being hired on by a professional lash company as a brow artist to build out a whole collection of brow products. So stay tuned.
You said lash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to say that?
No.
Yeah,
I was like, he told us.
I know. Thank you. Good catch.
I was gonna stop you after.
What did I say? How did I say it?
Wait, so brand collaboration with your own wax. I wrote that down. What was that? Did we say that yet?
No, not yet. That's the one that was, and you could just say like, I know you did another collaboration last year.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's just get that last line where you're saying you're working with this professional brand that's not a brow company yet.
Okay.
And whatever naturally comes from that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I never thought that I would get to this point in my career where I'm working with another professional beauty company that is not a brow company yet, but will be. And it's going to be a really, really amazing assortment of brow products that's coming in October.
You have lots of collabs, which is great. I feel like we need to collaborate a lot in this industry.
We do. Mm-hmm.
I know you had one last year, 2024. Do you mind talking a bit about that one? And then I know you have one, or no, we just talked about October.
Yes. Too many collabs.
So many collabs. Okay, yeah.
So last year, I launched the industry's first, or I worked in collaboration with the Tura Verde Pro, which is a professional wax company. But we launched the industry's first brow wax. So there has never been a brow wax, or maybe there has been. I think there is now, but I don't know the dates. Maybe there's not. But there is now a brow specific wax. So it's designed for the sensitive skin area and has hyaluronic acid. So it hydrates the skin. It makes it so that the skin comes out with ease, and it's just super gentle. The consistency is very, very unique. I know a lot of brow artists, it's become like one of the brow artist faves. So yeah, that was my first collaboration.
That's amazing. I feel like, honestly, I love this podcast because when I talk to you estheticians, I'm like, you guys are so smart. And you're so versatile, and also too, like, it's not just that you're an artist. There's so much that goes behind it. Like, you are very, like, intelligent business-wise. So do you mind sharing a little bit of your tips for like being an entrepreneur? Like, what would you tell an esthetician that maybe wants to be in your shoes one day?
Well, thank you. You know, I always say that I'm not smart. I think smart is one of the things, but I think I'm savvy. So I know how to like get around things, and I know how to like work my way into things. But one of the things that I would tell an esthetician is that you can always start small. You know, originally when I started, I'm self-funded. I started with like $1,000 that I had saved from my corporate job, basically, and I started in a very small little closet, basically, and it was in the middle of the fashion district of downtown LA. There were like wall to wall, sewing machines around. So it's really funny, and that's a whole other story. But I would literally pump up the music, the spa music, or I never did spa music, but I'd pump up the slow R&B, and then I'd pump up the essential oils, and you just felt like you were not amongst sweatshops. But always start small and start with where you're at, because there's so many clients. Once a client comes to you, they build a relationship. They're like, I love you. I just want to support you. They get super excited when it's small things that happen in your business. And I see clients every 6 weeks. So every 6 weeks, a client would come in and be like, oh my God, you got a new blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, and then that would turn into, oh my God, you have a bigger space. Oh my God, you have another hire. Oh my God, you have a whole penthouse floor of a building. Oh my God, you have a brand now. Oh my God, you're traveling to Tokyo. It's for, so clients always want to support you, and they always want to say, I remember him when.
That's amazing, because even with my clients now, like if I just take a new class, I'm like, I took a new class, we have a new protocol, I'm going to do it on you. Like they are here for it. They trust you. And even too, they trust you when you're like maybe, and not in your mistakes too, but they trust you enough to just like continue to come to you. And I think it's how you respond also.
Absolutely.
Like with the client and how you deal with it after that shows a lot. But what would you say, like, is different from the version of you before you even started brows to the version of you now? I know that's like a personal question, but I love to get a little personal.
No, well, I think when you just start, you have to get scrappy, and you have to be willing to get your hands dirty. And you have to, we have very limited budgets too. But I think I still am somewhat scrappy when it comes to my business, because business has to make sense, obviously. I'm not going to like dump money in something that's going to be a waste. But I think now I outsource a lot of things. I outsource as much as I can, actually. And I think in this path, it's made me realize like what my brilliance is, like what I'm really good at. And now that I realize what I'm really good at, I try to stay there as much as possible, and I kind of stay in my lane. For everything else that feels like a chore to me, or feels like it drains my energy, or it feels like something that it's not one of my fortes, I'll pass it off.
That's amazing. And you've built like that luxury to be able to do so. I'm sure like in the beginning, you wear different hats, which is annoying, But I think that once you start to delegate and outsource, that's when you are allowed to look at the business more and be more the mastermind and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, where do you see your brand headed in the next 5 years?
That is a really good question. I think on the salon side, I'm an ambassador for Square.
Okay.
Which is like the credit card processing. So we have a big project that we're going to be working on. And I think you're going to be seeing Brow Down Studio a lot more places.
Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like
to not give too much info.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah. And
my
then
brain is like wondering what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think on the pro side, I think we're right now being used in Mexico, and then we're speaking with people in the UK too. So I think eventually we'll go to like an international brand, and I think our exclusive partners are going to grow also. We partner with a lot of schools, with Aveda being our biggest client right now. We're in 22 Aveda doors for Brow Down Studio Pro, and we provide them with products, we provide them with education. So really, if there's any, also that we kind of found our little niche there, because there's not a lot of brow education that's happening. But I think growing our education platform is really big. We just launched a digital platform called Brow U, which is short for Brow University. So that I think is going to continue to grow. We have an education team now, which is amazing. We have a sales team, which is amazing. So I think our exclusive partners and kind of like our techniques and our education, I think is just going to continue to grow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So where can our listeners find you online?
Well, I'm Skin Maestro. That's my personal page. Brow Down Studios is my salons in downtown LA and Beverly Hills. And then Brow Down Studio Pro is the pro page. And then browdownstudio.com, browdownstudiopro.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You are incredible. I'm super impressed by you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Bye, Esties. How long was that?
27.
27?